Up next is Los Angeles Trade Technical College Architecture and its project Designed by Community, a unique toolkit to catalyze community participation in the design of public space. The idea is to empower Pico Union residents with the opportunity to participate in creating the park of their dreams. On the team lead is Professor Marcela Oliva. Marcela, we're hugely eager to see what you've come up with. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. So we appreciate this opportunity. We designed a Pico Union Park designed by community. We are in compliance with goal 3 and 6. We are work very close with the other 2 schools, and we are looking forward for a synergy. And we really appreciate the leadership and the vision of Pico Union Housing Corporation. And we have designed a park, a unique toolkit to catalyze community participation in the design of public space. These are the 5 categories that we will be covering. And as you guys know, LA Tech is very close to the location. And it's really a 20-minute walk or 5-minute drive. This is just to show you the area is on 12th Street and Alvarado, very close to the gas station, a lot of pedestrians. And our idea is to be changing the ground cover to allow using some pervious material to allow the water to go into the watershed. And we're gonna be combining it with activities for the design of the park. These are our partners. We have two classes, and we also have David Waite, which without him, I don't think the project could have happened, and also Studio MLA, and also a lot of alumni that have contributed. So Brittany and Dave will be presenting also. So what's the challenge? Why don't we have more parks? We have $90 billion in Los Angeles. There's a big shortage of parks. And we believe it's basically there's 2 things. The community doesn't feel it belongs to them. It doesn't feel they were part of the design team. So what we're doing here, we're actually creating a solution where we identify all possible activities that a park could have, 35 to 40. And then we created, we're beginning to create all the artificial intelligence where the community will be a designer, will be an architect, and will be an engineer. These will create more job opportunities because we will require more architects and engineers. So this will just accelerate. We need to create at least 1 pocket park per week due to the population growth. We're so below average. So here on the right, you can see a parametric driven design of how the community will be able to identify what they want in that particular park. So we're using Pico Union Park as a role model to a project that can be scalable and duplicable. Some might want to have an observation tower. Some might want to have a drinking fountain. Some might want to have 2 murals. So here's an example of how you have a grid inspired by biomimicry, and then you have a program where the community can drag and drop. And this is a quick example. You're going to see about 10 solutions, and each solution has 3 or 4. So it's extremely scalable and duplicable.
Okay, so to retrace our steps here, Professor Oliva conceptualized this process as a game board with its pieces, the pieces being the programs we just talked about. So to design the game board, the students use patterns of biomimicry, which they trace in CAD, computer automated design software, using SketchUp. And students experimented through patterns which provided a whole variety of pore sizes. And then after tracing these patterns, the students sat on them for a while and iterated them simply as drawings in and of themselves. So they played with the drawings as being capable of holding different tectonic properties. And what was so great of iterating this is it was totally void of scale and geography. Here's another example of how that played out in creating open space and tight space. So then after the drawing exercises, we step into the side for a moment and look deliberately at the site. Here, as mentioned, is the 12th and Alvarado site. So the site analysis metrics such as shade, sound, vehicle hazards, and visibility are some of the biggest design movers and shakers. So we pick those out and we'll show you soon how those affected these line drawings. At the same time, the students process the dimension requirements for unique elements throughout the park through precedent research and municipal code requirements. So the students were pretty much released to scour the internet for a whole bunch of kind of parcel moments which really hit home to them. Okay, so now as these pieces start to populate on the site, the students needed to manipulate that original drawing to fit these requirements. This first example is from Aaron, and you can see here the pieces or moments on the side as they populate. Different path arrangements, and we're just syncing our PowerPoint here. So you'll see different students' work come up after these yellow slides. Brittany's example here, you can see 4 iterations of using a Monstera plant as a design driver, engaging the alleyway as well as the street. And then what became interesting is Brittany's studies where she looked at the different programs and what could actually nest together, sit side by side, and which ones didn't work so well. And this kind of works algorithmically, but you absolutely have to have a designer in order to make this make sense. Christina's drawings here were particularly interesting to us as she would leave SketchUp intermittently to hand draw how this would work out and then return back to software. And Marcos here shows another example of his studies. Ground plan, the last one we're going to show is Mateus's, which involved ground cover studies, almost like a pavement plan as that played with these different algorithmic areas. So as we talk about how this translates from plan to being a real kind of imaginable park, there's a whole lot more information we need, and I'll pass it off to Brittany here.
Sure, thanks, Dave. So as we move from 2D to 3D here, you can see that we have compiled a 3D warehouse based on all of the various student designs. And so this will ultimately help the community envision the park design. So here we can see shelves, stages, cooling centers, canopies, etc. Here we see more modular pieces and stages that students have designed. And so here we also did want to standardize some programmatic components across all student designs, such as the biosoil here, of course, to meet our goals. This is included in an effort to capture as much stormwater as possible. And we also utilize Kelscape.org just to sift through all of our various options for vegetation in the park. And so next here, we are going into the 3D schemas that our students have come up with. So here we have an example from Matthias, and we can see all of the various 3D elements in his design. Here goes another view of what that park might look like being used. So here we can see the canopy, the sculptural playground, the information booth of sorts, bench seating. And here goes one last example. And so here we get to see the different design iterations that the students have provided. And so this as well will help the community envision what programmatic layouts are possible to begin with. From there, the students will take one of the iterations and then go ahead and populate it with the 3D components that they designed. And so here goes another example. Christopher Berrios, this is based off of a snowflake and your design here. And then this is another example here. We see 3 more iterations here at the bottom. So for example, in this design, the running track is symbolized by the pink line there. And so we can see the various options that Debbie drew here provided for us. You can see all the various part components she included. And that is about it for Pando Days 2021 for LATTC.
And just really quick, is this idea of creating a platform where the community is the designer.
Well, thank you so much, Marcella, and to the team. Marcella, you've described this as a kit of parts in the past, and I see exactly what you're talking about here. That really comes across. Fascinating. Okay, Randy Britt is the CSO task force representative right now. Randy will want to ask you some questions, Marcella. Randy has spent much of his career devoted to sustainability, and he's former Chief Sustainability Officer of Vanner Construction. He's now working as a sustainability consultant. Randy, I know that you have a great deal of expertise and background at the intersection of building things and sustainability. And I'm sure when you've watched the presentation, lots of those ideas have come across your mind. You have 5 minutes, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my background is more the intersection of engineering rather than architecture, but a lot of years integrating with architects and engineers to design facilities, and did a lot of parks and park modifications with the city of LA, the county of LA, and also with LA Unified School District. So some questions do come to mind. The idea of a toolkit that would be designed specifically for this is intriguing. It seems to take some components of other design tools. The question that I have first, though, is in addition to sustainability, it encompasses a lot of other abilities, such as accessibility, availability, the ability to be able to maintain it, and maintainability and security. So those are the questions that I would have is, as you're developing you're using the tool to develop this kind of a site, how do you plan to incorporate the input from the community to address those specific issues?
That's a fabulous question, because that's why Pico Union Housing is such an ideal model for the nation, because the concept is that you will work directly. They will be the designers. The community will be the designers. We will have workshops at their communities, and they'll get to choose whatever grid they like, whatever program they like. So we will just be facilitating a system for them to design it, maintain it, operate it, and follow the entire life cycle of the building. So that's exactly the goal. Usually my experience is that the community is not given enough vocabulary and enough tools for them to participate. So by creating this platform of collaboration and this video game interface, that is becoming very affordable. I mean, a lot of people say like, but do they have computers? But do they have these? But really, that's not an issue. There's very, very little investment for the outcome of the engagement that using technology can facilitate. And I know the city of LA has a lot of resources for that. So yeah, the whole idea is that they are the operators, they are the designers, and they also maintain it and assess it.
Okay. Getting consensus from a community, from my experience with LAUSD and with the city and the county, is a difficult proposition. How do you plan to try to arrive at a consensus, and which community groups do you intend to include to be as inclusive as possible for all the residents of the surrounding community?
Absolutely, and I think something that this Zoom and this pandemic has shown us is that there are some advantages of technology. So this platform, this video game, will exist in a video game environment where everybody will have access. So it will be open to the community, it will be open to government agencies, and everybody will be able to see the model. So it's a building information model that quickly engineers, architects, ADA compliance, government agencies can quickly alter that model. So it's this virtual reality, augmented reality. We're working with some people from Harvard and MIT to host these game engines and these community park design in these platforms. And working with Otis and with CalArts, we're hoping to do a cohesive, kind of like we call it a mother deck now. So we can create a prototype for the nation.
Okay.
Thank you,
Those are the main
Randy.
questions I have. Sure.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And thank you, Marcella. Extremely interesting.